Hi. This morning, I'd like to review what I have said in the past regarding the English conversation. All of them, I talk to myself. I regret my poorness in English conversation. So I talk to myself. But my pen pal always use in that case the subject you. Even though she wants to say in a general statement, she used the you. You is the word for the general statement. So I copy her and I used you more often than instead of I. But actually I'm talking to myself because my English haven't improved as I expected from the beginning. From the beginning means from the junior high school, grade 1, I started learning English. Of course, it's not an English conversation. English conversation maybe after I graduated from the senior high school. And I went to the church to meet the foreign people, or I went to Nagoya Harbor to meet the sailors, foreign sailors. And finally, I went to the Los Angeles and did the homestay for about half a year. Well, I haven't all of these years. And since after that, up until today, I haven't improved as I expected. And on the way, when I was 40, I went to Indonesia and stationed there in Jakarta, and I had to start learning Indonesian language, Indonesian conversation. And 3 years later, I thought I found the important thing to learn foreign language through learning Indonesian language. And after that, when I become 50 or a little over 50, that was around the year that window 95, window 95, the personal computer was made or became popular for the ordinary people. Then I thought I better conclude my English history of myself and why I wasn't able to improve my English conversation as I expected, and how can I improve the English conversation? In the first place, I started saying the wajun eikaiwa. Wajun means Japanese, wa. That means Japanese, the order of Japanese sentence and the order of the English sentence is different because the English subject verb. On the other hand, Japanese, often the subject is skipped, and then comes the objective or complement, and then the last three verb. And this is the trouble for me to speak in English, but I started saying the wajun, the Japanese order, you speak out. And I put it on the home page called Japanese and Wajun Eikaiwa no Susume. But still, that wasn't enough because still the hurdle is too high for me. So gradually I dropped down the hurdle, one step down, and finally, recently, when I think about the Japanese English, particularly the English conversation lesson on television, particularly, all of them, the higher, professor or teacher of English conversation, or for foreign instructor. After I watched those programs, one thing I noticed, all of them saying that this is the defect or weak point for the Japanese, or your pronunciation is not quite correct, or that is not the word in that the bunmyaku contents of the conversation. This is the more or correct way to say. All these instructional comments, to me, it is a break. If I say as if the English conversation is driving a car, these teachers or instructors, foreign native instructors saying that they break. But the most important thing for the Japanese, I think, is the accel instead of break. Myself, I've been breaking all the time. This is not a good way to express, or this is not a correct way, correct phrase. What is the correct phrase? I've been thinking so much that way, then I wasn't able to express myself. Particularly, I felt that way in the adult school I attended 1.5 years in Los Angeles. In that school, Latin American people, there were 1/3. 1/3 of the classes are from the the student from the Latin American countries, and 1/3 is Japanese, and the rest 1/3 was from the rest of the Asia or Middle East. And well, the other this Middle East or other Asian people was average. But if I compare these Latin American students and Japanese, it is completely opposite side. The students from the Latin American countries, they speak so energetic, so positively, no matter how bad their pronunciation, their grammar, they don't care. They speak out and discuss with the teacher. But Japanese, very, very quiet. All of them, very quiet. I haven't seen any one Japanese student, raising their hand or without raising their hand and speak out or argue or discuss with the teacher. No one. Even the best student in our class was very, very famous university in Tokyo, as far as English is concerned, very, very famous university students. But she was very quiet. Well, maybe, it's her own character, but I wouldn't say so, because no one Japanese do not express until they are asked to express what is your opinion. This is completely different from Japanese and Latin American people. And I thought, no matter how hard I try to improve my English, if I break myself, I do not know the correct word, I do not know the exact grammar or pronunciation. If I think that way, then I cannot speak out. On the other hand, this Latin American people, they don't care. They don't care about their pronunciation, they don't care about the grammar, but they express and they argue, they discuss with the teacher. And this is the way, I thought how we can improve the third language, or a foreign language at least, and that way, in a way, I copied them when I went to Jakarta when I was 45. 45 is too old to start or to learn the language. But strangely enough, in case of the Indonesian language, I was able to do that because I haven't the basic knowledge of the Indonesian language. So, broken Indonesian language, I thought it was okay. As long as I can express myself, my opinion, my feeling, it's okay. Pronunciation, okay, forget about it. Grammar, well, I cannot do the verb conversion or changes. No, I forget about it. Then 3 years later, I was able to express myself better than English conversation. if I compare my English ability and my Indonesian ability, well, the vocabulary was Indonesian maybe 300 words, English 90,000. The year 3 years, and this English when I studied 15 and 30, 45 years, 30 years, 3 years and 30 years, 99,300. But still, I feel comfortable if I use the Indonesian language. Why? Because I didn't use the break when I speak the Indonesian language. On the other hand, when I speak English, what I have in mind is good grammar, good pronunciation, good sentence. All these were break for me to speak out. So I really think that this, the English lessons and Japanese television program, too much breaking. If we forget about those break, in the first place, it doesn't matter the lower level. I would say third class English conversation is okay for the beginning. Then you brush up and second grade English conversation. And the final goal, maybe, you try to achieve the first grade English conversation. That's the way how you learn English conversation. Unless you are very young and your brain not completed in Japanese language, then you can chase both Japanese and English or other language. But if you are adult, the Japanese constitution or grammar already there, and you think about the Japanese in accordance with the Japanese grammar, then you start with the third class Japanese, English conversation, and gradually you raise your the degree or betterment, and all these I am talking to myself, and that the home page I made, Wajung Eikaiwa, is for myself, to encourage myself, for me to use the axle pedal instead of braking pedal. That's the idea. I started writing the Wajung Eikaiwa. That's all.